Hi there, welcome. Thanks for stopping by. My name is Alex BORWICK. This is a short video demonstrating the research project that I've been working on this year for the Music and Media Technologies Master's Program at Trinity College of Dublin. I've been researching the possibilities for an adaptive resonator. So a digital resonator is similar to what we see in some real-world instruments, for instance, the Indian sitar. Now, if you're not familiar with the sitar, it has a set of sympathetic strings that run underneath the neck, and when the musician plays the strings on top of the neck, these sympathetic strings will resonate or vibrate sympathetically depending on what the notes are that the musician is playing. There's lots of other examples from around the world of other instruments that utilize sympathetic resonance to their advantage. And the digital resonator is no different. It functions very similarly. The user has to define or tune the resonators to whatever pitch or frequency they so choose, and then you send an audio signal through the resonator, and the resonator resonates more or less depending on how the audio signal matches up with the tuning of the resonators. And so I've been really curious to see if it's possible to devise a resonator that adapts intuitively to an audio source. So rather than you, the user, having to tell the resonator how to act and having to always change and update that yourself, you can leave the resonator to make those decisions for you. It's, I guess, as will become clearer soon, it's part of an approach to try and make to free creative artists up in the creative process to be more creative rather than getting bogged down in too much technicality. So the best way for me to explain this rather than continue talking about it is to show you some examples. So I'll start with some basic vocal drones, for instance. Here's the resonator here, and I'll start to bring it in now. And hopefully you can hear that the resonator is kind of in tune with the notes that the voices are singing. And if I change that note, the resonator adapts to that new note. So that really was the primary focus of this research, was to see if that would be possible. And to do this, I used several participatory design research methods, which meant working with a small group of participants, in this case, some local musicians within Dublin, who generously gave their time and gave me lots of information and knowledge around their experience of using audio plugins, what works for them, what doesn't, what gets in the way of being creative for them, what things in a plugin inspires them to be more creative, etc., etc. And the information that they gave me helped to inform this prototype. I used an iterative design process. So the prototype went through several iterations. And when I finished one iteration, I would send it to the participants. They would give me feedback based on what they saw and experienced, and about what they liked, what they didn't like, what they would like to see. And using that information allowed me to create another prototype, which I could then send to them and repeat the whole process. Now, this prototype here is only the second iteration. I've received the feedback for this one, and I'm currently working on the third iteration. It's not quite ready yet, but to be honest with you, the feedback that the participants gave even on this one was really positive. So I think the third iteration will be very much similar to this, maybe only a couple of small tweaks. I'll show you it in another example, for instance, with some piano. Now, one thing that a lot of the participants said they love in plugins is randomness. So I have this randomized control over here, which allows you to, as you could well guess, randomize the parameters to find your own unique combination. That one's quite interesting. And so this means that it's possible for a user to find their own unique combination here that they might not have happened across otherwise if they were just manually playing around with these controls, or if they were thinking about it too much. And for that same reason, you see that all the controls don't have very technical names. They have broad descriptive names of what it might be associated with. But it's more up to the user really to play around and explore the plugin and have fun with it to find something that works for you, rather than getting too caught up in the specificities of what the Resonator is doing. We could add some delay after it. And some reverb. So you see how when combining this Resonator with other effects, it can also inform what they do as well. What a big thing the participants said is that they love plugins that do one thing really well. So hence why I haven't incorporated anything like delay or reverb in the Resonator, rather focus on it being a unique take on a Resonator which adapts. And then if one wants to add delay or reverb or any other effect, then you can do so with other plugins. Another interesting control on it is over here, the wild and hold. Essentially, the wild, which is what we've been listening to so far, is when the Resonator is constantly updating itself. It's always taking the incoming audio and adapting constantly. But when on hold, it takes the last lot of information it has analyzed and it holds on that. It doesn't move. It doesn't continually adapt anymore. And so you can use this to apply the spectral thumbprint of one audio source onto something else, which I'll show you now. So for instance, if we go back to one of the vocal drones, and I now press the hold, it's saved that information, and then we could go to something else, let's say this. And then now we've applied that spectral information from the vocal drone onto the drums. You go back to the drone and you can hear that the drone and those harmonics, everything is harmonically consonant. So that's another interesting application I found for that. I'm sure there's many more that the participants will find when they have a go of this themselves. Anyway, that brings me to the end of this video. Thank you so much for stopping by, and well done for getting this far in the video. I hope you enjoyed the rest of the exhibition. Please get in touch if you would like to talk about this more, or if you have any questions. I'd love to hear from you. And I hope you're well. Stay safe. Bye.